Right, let's get cracking.
Yeah. Okay. We might do when we finish, we might do a quick pan around the Peacock supporters in the lounge.
Let's do it. So we are up and running, Will. We're all good. So we missed, unfortunately, a very entertaining start to that because of some technical issues, but we are back on. Couple of questions today. The first one is, of course, the reflection on last week. First game at the Davy Field. Grandstand finished. You very quickly mentioned before the issue, it reminded you of Sudbury last year. Can you just talk us through the emotions, the performance, and then what the plan is for next week?
Yeah, I think we knew we were up for a stiff challenge last week. Potentially, we gave the opposition a bit too much respect early on in the game. We let them get a head start on us. But as I've always said, the boys love a challenge. So we went in at half time, I think 15-11 down, and then the third quarter, as we call it, that 20 minutes after the start of the second half, they got the 3 penalties on us. A bit of discipline issues, but we're playing in front of a home crowd. We're 24-11 down, and there's no giving up when you're a Peacock. So we kept fighting, and in the end, scored a lovely try and came out 24-all. So again, a bit like the Sudbury game, bit of a get out of jail draw.
Yeah, but it showed the character. I think it showed when the chips were down, that commitment to pushing forward and going for that penalty to try and catch the win as well. What was going through your head when that happened?
Yeah, 100%. And also, I think 15 minutes from the end, the crowd really got behind the boys. There was a bit of a scuffle. Let's call it a scuffle, which I thought, lifted everybody. The players and the crowd, and after the scuffle, I thought we were the better team, and that gave us the ability to fight back in and get that draw. And to be honest, I think there was a couple of times there where we potentially could have stolen the game.
Yeah, it was a brilliant game for a neutral, for any spectator from start to finish. Moving into this weekend, of course, there are a couple of names missing. It's a younger side to the one that was fielded earlier in this season and towards the end of last. Can you go through some of those notable changes and notable names that are in there?
Yeah, look, I think we've got Charlie Baker is probably the most important player absent this week. He's coming up to his 250th cap. He just controls the game for us. He's so good on the pitch. He leads the team around the pitch, the forwards. He organises things. He controls the tempo. So we'll miss him. We'll miss him a lot. But we need to start preparing ourselves for life without Charlie. He's getting, he's not an old man, but he's getting older. So James Gold will step in, Baldy will step in, and he's a young guy with lots of talent, lots of ability. So he's just got to learn the craft, and games like this are a perfect opportunity for him to do that. We're also joined by young Will Rampley, who has come across from Cambridge in the second row. So again, a 19-year-old with a lot of potential. He's going to jump in the second row with Fitchy, and I think he's going to add a lot of value to the team tomorrow. And Shingai is still unfortunately out. He got a knock in the eye against Tunbridge Wells, so he's still not quite ready to put the lenses back in. That's the problem with Shingai. He wears lenses, so he's a week away from putting his lenses back in. So not missing a great deal. Grant Anderson's unavailable this weekend. Crackers had a fantastic game last weekend, so it's hot competition for that number 12 jersey, particularly when Crackers can kick so many penalty goals and conversions. So, we're not miles off full strength, and we have got a lot of young talent coming through, so I'm excited to see what they can do.
Talking about that talent, and it's the same front row again this week, of course. Robinson, Hupperts and Emsley. Can you just go through how their start to the season has been? And they've had really strong performances at the scrum and throughout with their ball carries as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when Tring turned up and their tight head prop walked out of the change room at 6'3" and 150 kilos, I thought, the boys are in for a tough day today. But we actually dominated the scrum. So that's a credit to Brad, Miles, and Ollie, and the boys behind them. But front row, the scrums are won in the front row a lot of the time, and they did a fantastic job. And bear in mind that Brad and Ollie are both 21, 22-year-old. They're young pups, and they've got a bright future ahead of them. They've got Miles in the middle there, who's a bit of an older head, but they did really well against Tring, and I expect them to do better again this week. They're building in confidence. I think that's really important when they're winning scrums like that against big guys from a league above regularly. That they're building their confidence, and that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And can we go into Harpenden themselves? Of course, it's the second away game of the season. What are they going to bring, and what are we going to need to do in order to try and maintain the unbeaten start to the season that we've had?
Yeah, look, Harpenden are a good side. They always. I think they underperformed last year. I think they're a bit inconsistent, but when they're on song, they're a very good team. So we certainly need to go down there. Ready to play our best rugby. For us, it's about week in, week out at the moment. We're just trying to get better at what we do. We're not quite sure what the opposition are going to bring. It's early in the season. There's been, recruitment and stuff happening over the summer. We're playing against teams we haven't played for a long time. So we need to be making sure that we go down in the right frame of mind. There's things that we want to improve on from last week. We improved on the Tunbridge game against Tring. And we want to improve on the Tring game against Harpenden. We want to improve on that game against Bedford and again against Colchester. Once we get these first 5 games done and dusted, we can have a good look at where we're at. But yeah, we're under no illusion that it's going to be a very tough game tomorrow, and we need to be good. We need to be really good.
Yeah, touching on that momentum, how important was it, do you think, to snatch the draw at the end of last week, and how can that set up the rest of the season, and what the plans are and what the hope is for the team moving forward?
It was really important. We haven't lost at the Davyfield for quite some time now. We stood up to a very good team. To be honest, I think they were probably the better team on the day, the way they played. But our scrap and our tenacity and our grit to stay in the game and to come back and draw it, that's gold dust. So I'm really glad we did that. So I think that's going to set us up really well. What we don't want to do is follow that up with a poor performance. Because we've played Harpenden recently and we've beaten Harpenden recently, we certainly don't want to follow up with a little bit of arrogance. We need to be humble, go down to Harpenden and build on our performance against Tring. And, it's an opportunity to get better, but also to really stamp our mark on the league, which we haven't done yet. We didn't do it against Tunbridge Wells, and we haven't done it against Tring. It wasn't a perfect performance against Tring. So we're looking to be better. We're looking to send a message, I suppose, to the league, because Harpenden are a good outfit.
Yeah, I'm sure you've been working them hard in the week to get them ready. Anybody that is watching or catching up on this, if you can't, of course, make the game, make sure to keep an eye out on the Twitter feed. We will be highlighting as much of the game as possible and hoping to get some highlights as well. Will, very quickly, I thought before we go, as you are with some of the Peacock loyalists, I thought we could get a couple of them on and get them to say hello. Just roll on tomorrow, really.
Yeah. My apologies for having to do this in a reasonably noisy environment, but I was making my way to the club when I got waylaid by some of our most loyal supporters who were, standing outside the Queen's Head in Newton, lovely old pub. And of course, I drive a car that if you've seen it, it's not easily missed.
Absolutely
So
not.
They did call out and say, you want to stop him for a quick pint, which I've done, but unfortunately it clashed with this interview. So hopefully everyone has heard everything clearly. But there are a few people in the pub that would probably like to just say a few words and maybe cheer the Peacocks on the night before we take to the field. So I'm just walking in now, so I'll just pan around the room. We got faces like Dave Dunnett, who most would know. Here he is. He's in the corner. Here he is.
Hello, Dave.
Big Dave. Big Dave.
Hijacking our interview.
Yeah, how's it going? Was that a good interview, Mr. Hadder? Yeah. And then panning around the room here. Mazda never misses a home game. Never misses a home game. So, yeah. Obviously, I'm getting an absolute grilling about selection and performance, and it should be noted that Mr. Dunnett here, Dave Dunnett's son Michael, has joined Westcombe Park. One of our probably going to be one of our toughest challenges yet. So I'm in his ear at the moment about getting Mike to re-sign to Shelford, because I don't think he should be playing for Westcombe Park this season.
Well, it's not going to be right seeing him facing up against Shelford, but Will, cheers to that. Thank you very much for your commitment, even at the pub conducting the interview. Thank you to everybody watching, and we will catch you all hopefully tomorrow. See you then.
Cheers. Happy Friday.
Ding, ding.
All the best.
Go, Shell.